I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, May the 17th, brought to you in part by Toromox by Norbrook. Toromox runs parasites out of town. Affordable alternative to Cydectin, and you can expect the same weight gain advantage that you're used to with Cydectin, just at a lower cost. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Disciplined, and that's pretty much all you can say for the negotiated cattle feeders, and I know there's not hardly any of them left in Kansas. There's basically none of them left in Texas. But when you get up in Nebraska, eastern Nebraska, and all over Iowa, there are a lot of guys that still sell negotiated fat cattle, and you've got to give it to them. They've been very disciplined. You know, what percentage of them have those cattle hedged? All of them, and they're still resisting a pretty fancy basis there. I mean, even at the close on Friday, it's still $6-7 extra that will help them surpass their break-evens and make a nice profit on those cattle. But they know they deserve more money for the cattle. We've been waiting for your packers to get these box beef cutout values up, and finally they have, in a big way. And now those cattle feeders think it's time for them to get paid. We've been playing in this real narrow trading range here for months and months and months. It's time to break out of that and get some more market position here. And I just give it to those cattle feeders, those negotiated sellers that are resisting steady bids. And they got the steady bids on Thursday, all the way up to fully steady. I mean, the full max of last week's live cash market at 188 in the Northern Plains still resisted, and that's pretty admirable there, guys. We'd had just a few cattle sell, and the prices that were paid that were actually certified paid cash prices are very near all-time highs. I don't know if that's going to follow through. I think one of the deals might have been on some real premium type cattle. Not sure if everybody else is going to follow through. The packers are going to wait until Friday here and hope that the board tanks. The board's been pretty friendly all week here. I told you guys I thought this board would be friendly this week. I told you that early Monday, and it has been very friendly, and I was right for once. And it's been very friendly up through, but it's very rare that we see the board be friendly, all the way through the week. So your packers are counting on the board to tank. I'm sure they're telling their fund friends out there, let's tank this board on Friday. We need to buy these cattle at least steady or lower. So I would look for that here on Friday morning to start the day out on your CME cattle futures there, because they haven't done hardly any business at all. But choice box beef up again big on Thursday, up nearly 15 bucks for choice cutouts in a week. We just don't see that. Unbelievable. And it's funny to me, and I've been telling you, I think it was kind of curious of what they're telling us. And what we find out on that box beef cutout report is exactly what the packers want us to know and nothing else. So it's funny to me how we've just been creeping along here. Just couldn't get them, even close to $3. And then all of a sudden, of course, we're getting close to Memorial Day. All of a sudden, we gained 15 bucks. Well, the threats of a lighter kill, they've basically been empty threats so far. We'll see here on Friday how many of them are dark or are cut back significantly, but we've still been slaughtering, well up in the 620s, 630s, and with the heavier carcasses, I mean, we're basically producing as much beef as we ever have. But they just keep putting that out. It's so well advertised, it's something when the first thing you hear from your packer buyer is whatever he wants to put out. Oh, we're going to 32 hours this week. Oh, we're gonna go 32 hours the rest of the spring here up until deep into summer. Okay. You can always tell when those packers are lying because their lips are moving. So you have to remember that, people. But they've been talking about how they were going to cut kills and cut kills and cut kills, and even though our kills have been on the light side, they haven't been slashed like what we were thinking. But we have seen, one of our biggest packers of the big four, the Farmer's Friend, JBS, based out of Brazil their stock prices are doing fantastic all of a sudden. And the articles that have been written about that is because they've finally gotten to the point they've been striving for, which is extreme diversification. Diversification in the proteins. They're huge players in all the proteins. Big in the chicken, big in the pork, big in the cattle. They want to be big in the fake proteins. They're probably going to be big in the insect proteins as we go forward, because they want to have the biggest share of the protein sales. But they're diversified in all the proteins, and now they've gotten where they're diversified in your countries and all different continents. They're the biggest, one of the biggest protein providers. They're the biggest protein provider in the world. And you remember, just not that many years ago, those Bautistas, the old man Bautista was going door to door selling bits and pieces of a cow that he'd saved up to slaughter, and then eventually got to 2 cows, and then he was cutting them up and going door to door down there in South America. But not really, guys. You know how they got so big, and I know how they got so big too. But your feeder cattle and calves in your sale barns on Thursday were just absolutely on fire. Some of the highest prices that I've ever seen, ever, were quoted on Thursday. I expect that to continue, but I am scared of this board on Friday. I think it could tank, so your packers can buy cattle steady. If not, this fat cattle market is going to be significantly higher because the few cattle that they sold on Thursday, some of them were significantly higher, and I don't think it was enough to establish a market, but it's working towards it, guys. But you know what we do here on the Feeder Flash? If we don't do anything else, we want to promote sale barns, auction method of selling cattle, competition, negotiation. We're losing it every day, guys, but we've got to keep it. We've pretty much lost it in our fat cattle, and you guys know that. I preach about it all the time, how we don't have enough negotiation in our fat cattle sales. That's why fat cattle aren't bringing $2 and something, is because we don't have any negotiation. Everybody's just selling their cattle on some kind of a formula that's based off a minuscule amount of trade. But we've got to keep it going in our calves and our yearlings, guys. You've got to keep supporting your sale barns. If you don't have the gumption to take your cattle into the sale barn, put them up for bids, run them in front of buyers, and let them bid it out to see who wants them the worst. That's the only way we can find true price discovery on these cattle, is through competitive bidding in an auction setting. And I don't care if that auction setting is on some kind of a video or something, but you've got to put them up for bids, guys. Absolutely got to put them up for bids. And all spring here, and basically for the last 2 years, I don't think anybody would have the gall to price their calves or yearlings what they might bring in the sale barns and what they have brought in the sale barns. You wouldn't have the gall to ask a country buyer that, but you still get to reap those rewards through competitive bidding. Our sale barns are still strong and alive. I know 25 years ago, when I was getting out of grad school, that was one of my big papers, is whether the auctions would survive or not. And they've survived better than I thought at that time. And I think the auctions are still very viable, and we've got to keep stroking them, guys. Keep going on the sale barns. We like to promote sale barns, and each month, with help from YTEX Tags, we honor or recognize one of the sale barns as Market of the Month. And for last month, your YTEX Market of the Month is Kingsville Livestock Auction in Kingsville, Missouri. Now that was started back by Rick Anstein, and it's just east of Kansas City there. he worked hard. It was in the last days of the Kansas City stockyards, trying to get as much of that business. It was on the east side of the city to come to them, and they have evolved. They've become a big regional sale barn, and they do an excellent job. Jeremy and Jared Anstein, Rick's boys, do most of the work there, and they work their asses off. And one of the big things they did last week, the reason for recognizing them, is they handled that huge dispersal of Circle A genetics there in Missouri. And they didn't do it the quick and easy way, guys. They had 3 separate specials, got those cattle in there, got them all checked, got them all worked, got them all paired up, did everything, offered those cattle in smaller groups where some of your smaller producers could get in on premium type genetics, and plus they were having their regular feeder cattle sales, which they have big feeder cattle sales all year round. They did all that. They managed all that work and did a great job for their consigners and for their buyers. So congratulations to Kingsville Livestock Auction in Kingsville, Missouri. Let's talk about your board on Thursday. January live cattle futures up 77 cents at 179.02. That's still a long ways back from where we last traded cattle, which was almost 186 on the weighted average, guys. So hence that big basis that your hedged feeders have been resisting is why I entitled this report Disciplined. August live cattle up 85 cents at 177.37. Your back months were up a nickel to up 92 cents. Feeder cattle contracts, May feeder cattle up 170. They heard about all the big sales that were going on and the prices that were being paid in your big sale barns, and they know that May feeder cattle has got to come together with your CME cash feeder cattle index. So they poured some on. They might have poured a bit too much on, but that remains to be seen. How about August feeder cattle up 147 at 257.35, and then your back months are all up big from 95 cents to 155. July corn was down 5.5 cents a bushel at 457. July beans up 2 3/4 cents a bushel at 12.16 1/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for July down 1 3/4 cents at 673 1/4. Fat cattle trade, and I told you it was higher, and I think it was on some premium cattle there. It was the only thing that was really reported by USDA on Thursday. Of course, after 2 o'clock, the deadline for the packers to turn that stuff in through mandatory price reporting, we may have had some more sales. And like I say, most of your packers are just going to sit, hope the board tanks on Friday, and try to buy the cattle steady with last week. But in Iowa on Thursday, we had 1,300 head of confirmed sales and live prices 186 to 190. We haven't visited that for a long time, guys. That's near all-time record highs. Dress sales from $2.98 to $3 dressed. But no trade at all in Nebraska, Kansas, or Texas. Didn't have any big fat cattle auctions on Thursday. So we're still searching for the market, but we hope that the establishment comes with what little trade we saw there in Iowa on Thursday. Box beef cutout values are higher. We did see that April was the highest retail beef prices at the retail level ever recorded in a month. And of course that has to do with Magoo's inflation, but still extremely high prices on beef. And we should see these wholesale prices come up because it's been all the middlemen from the wholesale beef up to the retail level that's been reaping all those rewards. They may have to shave back a little bit their cut. But choice cuts up $3.38 on Thursday afternoon at $310.15. That is like $15 higher than just a week ago, guys. And then selects up $2.20 at $296.51. Your slaughter on up through the first 4 days of the week, 487,000. That's 2,000 less than last week, but pretty close. 15,000 less than the same week a year ago, but still looking at over 600,000 unless we have significantly dark plants on Friday and Saturday. Our actual slaughter information come back for the week ending May the 4th said your average dressed steer carcass weight was 923 pounds. That's huge, and 3 pounds bigger than the previous report. Talk about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services, that's Dakota Moss and all the agents that he works with, and they're in and around the outskirts of Oklahoma, but they can help you anywhere. I was talking with Dakota just last week, and he said, I can do LRPs anywhere except for California and Hawaii and Alaska. I know a lot of my California guys are looking for somebody to handle LRPs. Get a hold of Dakota. Make him get certified in California too, guys. I want to see that happen. How about, he was telling me about some new interactive features that he has on his website at livestockriskservices.com. You can fill out an application right there. You don't have to talk to anybody. Just get online there, livestockriskservices.com, fill out an application. Then, when and if you want to take out an LRP, you can do it short notice, guys. And then you can also check out another feature he has on there, which he coined a new term. He calls it a quoter, which I'd never heard that before, but it's kind of a real-time type thing with the most up-to-date information. You can plug in how many cattle, what you like your strike price out, see what your premium's going to be. Pretty interesting with Livestock Risk Services, guys. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DVAuction late in the day on Thursday, sitting at 243.49. That was up 73 cents from the end of Wednesday's sales. Latest CME cash feeder cattle index sitting at 242.33. Let's look at these big sales on Thursday. Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas had a humdinger. 3,900 head. Feeder steers they called $2 to $5 higher. Feeder heifers were called $8 to $10 higher. They said there were spots even more sharply higher than that. Calves were not well tested. Pratt was your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day. Look at these averages, weighted averages in these most popular weight groups. There were 730 head of 8-weight feeder steers in Pratt. They averaged $8.55 with a weighted average price on all of them of $246.10. That's $4 higher than your CME cash feeder cattle index on some steers that averaged over 8.5 on all of them that they had in Pratt on Thursday. There were 799 head. Oh, included in that 8-weight was one load of 892-pound steers at $254. That's what kind of market we saw in Pratt, guys. How about 799 head of 9-weight steers in Pratt? They averaged $946 with a weighted average price of $235.37. Included in that deal was a load of 922-pound steers that bring $250. We couldn't get $250 for a load of flat 8-weight 800-pound steers just 10 days ago. So, I mean, this market is sharply higher. How about heifers? 436 head of 8-weight heifers averaged $840 at $223.93, and 546 head of 9-weight heifers averaged $924 at $215.82. How about straight north of there at Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas? They had 2,400 head. Feeder steers were called $4 to $6 higher. Feeder heifers $2 to $4 higher. Let's go out east and see if they can sell them out east. How about Bluegrass Stockyard South in Stanford, Kentucky? They sell a load of steers through the ring there in Stanford. 59 head of them weigh $855 at $251.50 in Kentucky, people. How about another Kentucky market? Paris Stockyards in Paris, Kentucky. Can we sell them a little bit lighter anywhere near the central part of the country? How about 53 steers in Paris? They weighed 614 pounds, bring 309. Whoa. I mean, this market was on fire on Thursday, guys. How about elite livestock sales? My friends that have the video auction they do with DVAuction down there close to Montgomery, Alabama. It's the crew that was at Montgomery Stockyards there, and they had their special there, their Back to Grass 2 sale. They had a couple of lots I'm going to talk about. How about Cleveland Land and Cattle Company in Prattville, Alabama? They had 4 loads of steer calves. 4 loads of them, home raised, 625 pounds. They come the 1st of June, unweaned at $290 in Alabama, guys. How about the Brown Farms right there in Montgomery, Alabama? They had a lot of yearlings on the sale. These are going to come the last of May here. 3 loads of yearling feeder steers, weigh 830, deliver right from the farm at $250. Wow. Big time sale there at Elite Livestock Sales. They had a big sale last time. They're getting ingrained in the Southeast. If you're selling load lots of cattle, guys, get a hold of them. But the most impressive quotes that I saw anywhere on Thursday, your Macrocin No BS top quotes for the day, come out of Lamona Livestock in Lamona, Iowa. That is South Central Iowa, guys, there. Jason Allen doing such a good job there, and he keeps me abreast of what's going on because it's one of the big sales that I want the quotes from that we don't get automated through Cattle Market Central there, but he keeps me abreast of what's going on. He sold, he had 2 loads of steers, weighed 763, bring 280.50 in Lamona, Iowa there, and then had a part load of steer calves, weighed 560 and bring $3.70 a pound. That's your feeder flash for Friday.